my HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin protocol. Huge from EnhancedAthlete.com here in Shanghai because I travel the world looking for solutions to becoming superhuman in the healthiest way possible, promoting health, longevity, and looking sexy as hell. I'm literally just doing this video because I think I look really hot in this lighting. HCG is used to jumpstart our own natural testosterone production when we use steroids, which suppress our natural testosterone production. Or if we use SARMs, selective androgen receptor modulators, which also can suppress natural testosterone production if taken in very high doses. Now there's many different HCG theories on the internet, and they could, I'd have to say that none of them are wrong. It's a matter of an opinion. There's some bro science involved because there haven't been enough studies done in the realm of bodybuilding's use of HCG. Most of the studies done on things like HCG are the application to normal medical conditions, preventing or curing diseases, not for what we're using it for bodybuilding. Now, I do have a friend that is prescribed HCG, and the dosage for prescription HCG for him is 250 IU, international units, twice per week. That's a total of 500 units per week, which means that a 5,000 unit vial would last him 10 weeks. But then you hear Rich Piana's dosage, where he uses, I don't remember exactly what it was, something around 5,000 units once a week or twice a week. So he's using like 10 times the prescription dosage. And he makes a good point. He says, hey, you guys can say whatever you want, but it works for me. I've never had any problem with it. And that may be true. My approach is a little bit different. I want to find the minimum effective dose, and I experiment on myself to do that, and I'm going to tell you what that is. And I also do have a fear about desensitizing myself. There is a debate as to whether taking HCG in high dosages will desensitize our Leydig cells, which is where I believe where the HCG is received in the balls area. I don't know the exact science of it, but I do remember when I did deeply research it years ago, believing that there was a potential risk that if I took too much HCG, I could potentially desensitize those cells either temporarily or permanently. So I prefer to err on the side of caution. I mean, I'm trying to use HCG just to jumpstart my natural testosterone production. Well, here's the gauge I use to do that. I've had my balls, my testicles literally disappear. Now this is painful. I've had my balls literally disappear. I was gonna jump on that, but we are in China and I don't feel like going to jail. A lot of things are illegal here. And there's some things that we're doing that are not in conformity to Chinese law. We don't need the attention. My balls practically disappeared. Actually, they did disappear. They sucked up inside myself. And all there was like testicle skin hanging down with no actual balls I could grab. And that happened on a trend cycle, and it happened again, I think, maybe on a deca cycle. Those are both nandrolone steroids, the most suppressive steroids of all. Usually a testosterone cycle's not strong enough to suppress natural testosterone production enough to make your balls completely disappear, but they will just shrink a little bit. I have no problem with my balls shrinking a little bit. My balls are pretty big. In fact, I did want to do an experiment where I put my balls on a scale, and I did. I actually put my balls on a scale and weighed them, but it was too hard because if you change the pressure, like how much you set your balls on the scale versus not, it's too much of a variable. I couldn't isolate the variables. So I just have to go by feel and look, and then I ask my female friends to give me their opinion on the size of my balls: small, medium, large, medium, small, schmedium. So what I've found is 500 units of HCG twice a week is enough to restore my balls to full size, even while on a trenbolone cycle, in a week and a half. That means it only takes a total of 1,500 units to roughly restore my balls, and a week and a half to natural size. So I asked myself, why would I take any more than that? I'm trying to just bring my balls back to normal operation. Now this is all bro science. This is 100% bro science, my experience. But it's worked great for me. And I used it in my video where I brought my natural testosterone production in 1 week. And I think I used 500 units of HCG twice. And then I tested a week later, and I got my natural testosterone production from something like 30, which is like no natural testosterone production, all the way up to like 280 or 300, whatever was like the very low, but getting into the normal range, which means that just a little bit longer and it would have gotten well into the normal range. So it was enough HCG. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, the minimum effective dosage for me was somewhere around 500 units twice a week, which is already double the prescription dosage. So I personally don't want to go too far above that dosage. I mean, I'm sure a lot of my athletes do 1,000 units twice a week or 1,000 units 3 times a week. That's fine. It seems like a high dosage to me, but it's not super extreme. And a lot of people have done it and they have no permanent damage from it, no permanent desensitization whatsoever. So I think that's probably within a fine range. I just don't quite understand the need for going for the many thousands of units many times a week. And I'm doing this video because so many of you have reached out to me and asked about the dosages because of Rich Piana's opinion on the dosages. So I just wanted to also give my opinion. Neither Rich Piana's opinion nor my opinion is the right one. And he says the same thing I say, which is you have to learn your own body. You have to go by experience. By the way, this is not medical advice. Don't do anything that we're doing. This is a prescription medication. Even though EnhancedAthleteCells.com sells it, it's for research purposes only, not for human consumption. May cause death or serious bodily injury. Use only under doctor's supervision. But you need to experiment with your own body and find out what works for you. HCG is no exception to that. But I hope that my experience with HCG and the dosage that I have found to work, which is 500 units twice a week, is enough. Now, back to on cycle versus PCT. Because I was explaining how when I shut down while I was on cycle, but I used the HCG while I was on cycle and it worked. I don't want my balls to shrink while I'm on cycle. I don't want them to atrophy because it's that much more work for my balls to start working again, to start producing natural testosterone. So I do differ in the opinion with, I think it was Piana or someone else who said, why would you ever run an HCG on cycle? Because then you're giving mixed signals. You're giving yourself steroids that says to shut down, and then you're giving yourself HCG which says to produce. I don't understand the reasoning there because I actually see and feel the difference. Being shut down and having your testicles shrink to absolutely nothing is not a good thing. I don't think it's good to be atrophied. That being said, when you were a child, think about this. You were atrophied for 14 years, 12 years until you hit puberty. I mean, you had testicles, right? But they weren't activated. And hottie alert. They weren't activated. So just because your balls are atrophied for even 6 months or whatever, doesn't mean that they can't bounce back again. Remember, when you're a child, they're deactivated for 12 years, okay? So just put it in perspective. PCT, they say to run it at the end of a cycle, right before PCT begins. To play it safe, my athletes usually run it during the cycle. Like 500 units, even just once a week, is enough to prevent atrophy. And then after the cycle, up the dosage a little bit, 500 units twice a week. And then I see no reason to stop it through PCT. You know, I think they say stop the first 2 weeks of PCT and then run it, and then just keep running Clomid and Novadex and exemestane and a natural testosterone booster or something for another 2 to 4 weeks. I say run you can even run HCG as a bridge. I don't see any reason why someone has to come off HCG as long as the dosage is low enough. I mean, personally, I have run HCG in really long cycles at 500 units once to twice per week with no problems, and I'm able to get my natural testosterone back, let it shut down, switch over to TRT, back to natural testosterone production, no problem. But remember, everybody is different, so you are taking the risk if you use any of this that you're going to cause desensitization and personal shutdown. Again, this is only my personal experience. Be swell and swole, my friends of freedom, pioneers of human evolution. That's good.